Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Luna, Claire, and the Druid. So lovely to have you tonight, Claire, as our as the guest in our show, and really looking forward to make this happening. And I'm turning off my. We already have some commands in the chat. Richard is there, Susan is there, and more people are there. Hi there, and Claire. We know you from the Tarot Associations of the Tarot Association of the British Isle. For the rest of the night, we talk about TABI, of course. Maybe I remember it. If you, I remember to spell it out loudly for people later. All three of us are members, and a very lovely club to be part of, where we talk as peers, as equals on shows we hold, tarot conferences, and we learn a lot from each other. It's a very welcoming environment to grow your tarot skills. So I recommend it to everybody. The price it couldn't be an issue. It's like £20 a year or something, isn't it?
£20, yeah.
£25 a year for the subscription, and the value is crazy. So welcome to our show. The show Luna the Druid, where we talk about tarot, mysticism, the Wheel of Year, spirituality, and affirmations, creating the life of our dreams. That's what we do the best. We interview you tonight, Claire, a discussion on using tarot for self-care during stagnant times, and maybe we can do some interactive Q&A with viewers. We have you a lot on our shows, and so you know how interactive the show is. You're a very loyal commenter always, and join in for all the lovely interactive things that we do. So especially to our viewers, if you have any questions for Claire, pop them up in the comments. Pop them up in the comments in the live chat, and we'll talk about it. So Claire, we'll start with you. A small introduction of yourself. Can you do that?
Good evening. Good evening, Luna, Druid, and everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So yes, I've been a member of TABI now. I'm coming into my third year. I've had a passion for tarot for the last 22 years. So it started out, my husband brought me my first deck, and it's just gone from there, strength to strength. It's really come to the forefront in, say, the last 6-7 years, doing readings for family, friends, and clients as well. Yeah. So yes, it's been a wonderful journey, and I've also through TABI done intermediate training, which was really good to bring lots of different dimensions to the readings. So yeah.
And what drew you to tarot? What was the moment you say, okay, I'm really diving into it now?
Yeah, I think, as I say, about 6-7 years ago, I discovered YouTube. And there were a few people on YouTube who, you type in a type of deck that you've got, and you find that people are doing videos and they're doing reviews, or they're showing you how they work with it. And it just kind of went from there, and exciting times.
Yeah, and then slowly but surely you found your spirit, you found the things you do, and then you evolved from hobbyist slowly towards professional. That's lovely. I remember the last midwinter conference of the TABI. You did a lecture about the different tarot systems that you use, and you use all the major ones. That's I would say it's pretty unusual. Most people stick to one. I'm not one of these people. And Luna is also very interested in all kinds of stuff.
We're the rebels of tarot here, guys.
Yeah.
And it's so lovely to have you here, Claire, with us on the other side this time. And it's just like you said, I was thinking that it starts with that one deck. Do you actually remember which deck was it?
I do. It's called Angel Tarot, which has nothing to do with angels whatsoever, but it's a Pip Marseille style deck. And I began my journey as a member of staff in a holiday camp where we'd all get together when the camp was closed, and Claire would get the cards out, and we'd all sit around and chill out and let's see what the cards are going to bring. And yeah, so in the beginning it was more of a bit of fun. But as time's gone by, it's still fun, but there's also the serious side to it too.
And then you get to teach others. Your lecture was very inspiring. I remember that vividly because that was the same time we didn't have power after the storm. So I had to go to a cafe to get some power to charge my phone, grab and get some internet because reception was gone as well. So that was pretty effort, but it paid off very well for me.
So yeah, and you talked about in your lecture about all these different styles you're using. How is it for you to use different styles? How do you get to do that?
Yeah, I like to be very open-minded. So the first deck being a Marseille deck, I mean, between Marseille and the Rider-Waite decks, you've got the majors, which kind of have the same structure, the same cards that we recognize. But with Marseille, there's these different pips that don't really have as much description as the RWS, the Rider-Waite. So it was only recently when I actually thought, if I'm doing readings for people, perhaps if I start using different decks together, maybe it might give me a different reading, an interpretation that you couldn't just get from seeing one particular image that might have looked sad or scary or happy, or how can you give your client, the person you're reading for, the most from what you're trying to get, what the cards are trying to give them. That's kind of when it happens. So I always take along several decks if I'm reading for someone, and I try to, through intuition and through spirit, ask them, is there a particular deck you'd like to have a look at? I don't mind people picking up the decks and looking for themselves, and then laying the cards down and just going with the flow and see what happens. And if something comes up and I'm like, perhaps I should get this deck out and show you that card instead, but for the same like for like, it could give a different depth to the reading.
I'm smiling because this is totally my style of reading cards as well. I communicate, they communicate with me, and sometimes, just like you said, that one particular image is the key to the entire reading.
Definitely.
And Claire, we obviously love tarot, but do you read for yourself? Because you mentioned that you read for other people. How do you incorporate tarot in your daily life?
Sometimes, I mean, this is part of my discussion with you, is to, if I'm not in the right frame of mood, I don't want to draw a card. Because sometimes I think, what if I make it all negative? Because I'm not feeling in the right place. So therefore, it just seems counterproductive to pick up a deck and go, oh, not that card. Oh, not that card. When actually it's not about that at all. It isn't. It really isn't. But when you're in the frame of mind that, you're not quite ready. So sometimes I don't draw a card every day. I definitely have a card every Sunday. On Instagram, I like to post simple Sunday message. So it's kind of this thing where I just pick a card and give a sentence, or something that might inspire me and give a sentence, because we can get messages from anywhere that we're getting that guidance from, it will come. But in general, I like to do definitely a card for the month. So either a 12-month reading for myself that starts at Yule, or to draw a card at the beginning of the month.
Okay. So so the 12 cards you pull at Yule, or do you pull them one by one every month?
All together at Yule.
Yeah.
So I do a big reading for myself, and I do refer back to it. And then at the start of the month, just a general card for the month.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
This is a beautiful ritual, which again is within my practice as well. And that's also the day when I often, that's part of a preparation for the 13 magical nights of Christmas, or I do the same at the beginning of the year astrologically as well. So it's love to see how our magic intertwines and how that works. You mentioned an important thing here, the mental clarity, or sometimes the days when you don't have it. We all have those days, I suppose. At least I do. I can speak for myself here. And how do you deal with that? For example, you have a client on that day, and what happens?
Yeah. I think of recent, within my own spirituality and how I'm developing and growing my own personal rituals, my own coming to my own space. I just feel that even if my mind wasn't 100% maybe, that I could connect with my spirit guides, do certain things, go outside if weather permitting, and even if it's not, if it's raining, just wash it away. But just there's ways to connect that can sort of take that away. If it was for a client, definitely.
Yeah. What I can relate to is that the moment you might not feel like 100%, and you think, okay, well, am I doing the right thing doing a reading right now? And then you start reading cards.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changes.
Absolutely. I think when you realize that you're in that zone, you're in it.
All it is, just press my tarot button and boom, the whole reality changes, and everything that happens in the outside world or happens in your life goes away for a second. You're drawn in the now. I'm very much in of creating a bubble with my client. So there's even in noisy environments like shows and events where people walk around, where there's music in the background and talking. I just boom. I'm the world gets totally blocked out, and all at once I'm drawn in by the magic of tarot, and then we're off.
Yes.
It's really interesting. Actually, me and Richard had the same question because I didn't spot the comment.
I put it on the screen
about the same thing.
Yeah. What
yes,
do
well,
you?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
There is that switch on. And I think it is related to other things as well, where people love. You can have a bad day, but when you start doing what you love, what your soul is about, what your heart is singing, that changes the game immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for this wonderful introduction and getting to know you even more. Although we have already met in the various online gatherings of TABI, the Tarot Association, and let's go for one of the topics for tonight. Tarot for stuck and stagnant times, and you've been working with that. What's your perspective on that? Do you take a break from tarot or use it for self-reflection? How does it go for you?
If I find that I've got too much overwhelm personally, or even when you're online and you're scrolling and some days we can become cocooned in this little box, this little screen in front of us, be it a phone, be it a laptop, and we can actually forget the outside world. And sometimes it's that pause and reset button. So I'll just say, hey, I'm okay, but I just need to take a break. I just need to put everything down tools, walk away, and just go figure out what it is that's going to make me feel calm again, that's going to reset, and just let that happen. And then when I'm ready, I'll go, hi, I'm back.
Yeah. I call moments like that, the world has to wait for a while. It can revolve, but it has to wait for me.
It's still very much turning.
It's still turning. It's continuously turning. Yeah.
Absolutely, but that's self-care and self-love, so much needed, because usually the society puts so much pressure, and then different roles in life we have also are so demanding, and it's that finding sweet spot and how to bring this all together and how to create that space to actually be able to pause that button, put everything aside, and then focus on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to put your hand up and say, I just need a bit of time out, please.
Yeah, that'll do. Absolutely. Best solutions are the most simple and direct and authentic, actually.
Yeah,
thank
perfect.
you for sharing that. Yeah. That's a really good advice, actually.
I'd normally be typing in the chat at this point. Sorry.
No problem. Yeah. Do you use tarot for self-care or problem solving, or pull cards, or even search cards? And how do you approach that?
Well, I do have a deck that I call my best friend. So if I'm in a funk or a slump or come on, Claire, what do you need to hear? It's the Golden Visconti. And I can't tell you what it is about that deck, but if I need, sometimes I say it kicks my backside back into reality. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Now, that's not always the approach, but come on, Claire. What can we do here? So sometimes I will get that deck out and I will just sit and shuffle, and it just happens. And the cards are absolutely, I haven't brought it down this evening, but they are absolutely stunning. They're this gold reflective. And Jan's got it. Oh my gosh.
I have them here. I have actually, it's not the Golden Visconti, but it's a similar deck. The Visconti Sforza.
Yes.
Predates the Marseille. It's about the oldest deck that there is, the oldest. Of course, this is a reproduction. Very huge, very tall cards, and golden backgrounds. Yep.
So I think that's perhaps why it connects so well, because it's like the elder of my community. All these decks I've got, they're fun, they're this, they're that, the other, but the Golden Visconti is just kind of like, let's sort this out.
Yeah, and this dates back, I think, 1600 or earlier. Looking at the booklet, but
I want to say
a representation here of people who love the traditional, the old tarot, and there's me with my modern tarot. Love.
1377.
Wow.
So, late 14th century. Wow. Yeah, it's before everything. when the game of Tarocchi was just playing a game, and not everybody knew you could do readings with it. But card readings card. There will always have been people who did card readings, even with playing cards. That's you can use anything to read cards: tea leaves, coffee, pebbles, whatever. And Jennifer is there.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jenny.
Yeah. And so when you're stuck and you're pulling cards for yourself, how do you perceive of how do you work with the negative cards? They come up anyway, and of course they often give a warning or not necessarily prediction. How do you work with that?
The Visconti, if it gives me the Tower, I'm listening. I'm like, well, okay, I know I'm having a bit of a, so what do I really need to know? So if that Tower comes out, then I will proceed to draw a few more cards and to bring it together, but with not really like harshness, but like, okay, so this is what is happening, but how can we adjust what's happening? What can you do to stop this tower being a real crumbling tower around you? Is there something that you can do to make you feel better? I mean, there's plenty of ways to interpret the cards. So with this particular deck, I wouldn't bring out any other cards. So it's a bit contradictory. But if I was using other decks, then I probably would sit there and bring out 3 or 4 different styles and then look for the different messages within each of them and kind of use it as a counseling tool. So, for anybody that's ever had any form of talking therapy, cards talk. Your mind also talks, but the cards are talking to you. And it's that internal dialogue of, I've got this message in front of me. How can I bring it into my life? How can I appreciate what it's saying? How can I listen to what it's saying? And then to be a bit more gentle than if I was just to have tower after tower after tower after tower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the idea that the tower is a bad card is just an idea. The tower is a transformative card.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not about being in the process. It's about what comes after. That's what we always say. We talk a lot about tower moments and tower things in life, and it's always cleaning up, getting things clear, getting things sorted. Let go what no longer serves us, and create space for something new. And that's of course why after the tower we always have card 17, the star.
Claire, I cannot not ask, what is your personal view on the tarot card? The tower, not tarot, tower card. I have a bit of headache, guys, today.
Right. I should have got this card because I'm actually going to be doing a talk on this card coming up in the future.
This is, I think, one of the most controversial cards.
It certainly is. So I'm just going to find it, so just bear with me a few moments. It's always the last card, isn't it, before you...
Obviously, yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, there we are, nearly at the back. So with regards to the Marseille style, when I see this particular tower card, I always think to myself, whatever's going to happen, they've got their hands in front of them. They are actually steadying their fall. So actually, when all this turmoil's going on, if it's a mental anguish, if it's something that, isn't quite right, you can actually brace that fall and put your hands out in front of yourself. Not every tower card does look like that. I'm going to show an example from the Green Witch Tarot. So this is quite different again, just bear with me. I should have prepared this one, shouldn't I? But yes, when you look across all the different...
I have the Visconti here, the Visconti Tower. People are falling down. That
is the
they're likely to fall on their head.
Yeah. So that's why sometimes...
Yes. I cannot notice this comment about Iron Fire Horse being famous from constant tower moments in her life here in this beautiful space that she actually went in and joined, where we started.
In the tower moment.
How significant is that?
Wow. Well, I'm going to show you this card that in this particular deck, it's called the Wild Hunt. Okay. And sorry, I don't know if there's a bit too much glare on the screen there, but
wow. Are
it's
these
quite
flashes
different.
going into the tower, or are they going outward?
So it's kind of like a battle. It looks like they've come in from all angles. And I think that if we were to take that tower moment as what goes on in here, we have that battle between, it's easy to, when you've spoken before about raising your vibration, but when you are in a lower vibrational pattern, it's easy to get stuck there. It's easy to just think, oh, maybe I don't want to get up this morning. I'll just stay in bed a bit longer. Maybe you forget to eat. Maybe, you forget to stay hydrated. And then it all just kind of, it just keeps dragging you down. So that Wild Hunt where this battle's happening, I always think of the tower as a mental moment inside your mind, rather than whatever that external situation is. So it's for my personal interpretation, it's how can I be gentle on myself when things are not feeling great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this, because it's actually not what's happening around us, it's how we react to that, or rather response would be more right way to go. But however, sometimes we do react. It's absolutely, thank you so much for that, Claire.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, I usually see it as things can come from within and without. It's all depending on the situation, of course, but especially when you work on yourself, when you read for yourself, it's very much what happens within. If you read for yourself, or if you think of inspiration for yourself, do you sometimes even pick a card, or do you like by hand, like what we did now, or would you just pull random cards altogether always?
I think more often than not it would be random cards or jumpers or flyers or whatever you want to call them when you're shuffling that deck and one flies out or 10 fly out. Well, let's have a look and see. Because sometimes those flyers are flying for a reason.
Obviously, yeah.
But I think, again, for me, it's being in that right frame of mind to know when I can pick up the deck and allow it to give me some direction and focus, rather than, oh, what am I looking at?
Yeah, it's of course it's important not to get carried away by any card. It's never, look. There is a death card, and I always say that's the first card we get dealt the moment we leave the birth channel. You get the death card, and you carry it with you for the rest of your life. And often in the process of life, it comes out, and that means you're in transformative transformative part of your life, and you're in a position where you go, down, and you reawakening again. It's all about being reborn. That's the whole thing. And the same goes with the tower. It's not the process itself, it's what comes after.
Definitely.
Yeah. So for self-care, shall we pull some cards? Maybe all three of us.
I was actually planning to be a witness and have a reading for a change today.
Ooh.
Okay.
I don't have any deck on me now, but I'll tell you guys. Bear with me.
And have you any prompts or any questions prepared, Claire, or anything at hand where we could think about? For instance, a challenge. What Luna? A 3-card spread. What's a good one?
What was the question? Sorry, I was focused on
a 3-card spread for a 3-card spread for self-care.
Situation, problem, solution,
That's the one I
challenge,
was looking for.
embrace, release, guidance. Pick one.
First one I like: situation,
problem, and solution. All right, let's do that.
So. Three readers, 3 answers. We got from
situation.
Yeah.
Should we do 3 answers?
Yeah. So I do the situation. Yeah.
What's my card, Anna?
The problem.
The problem. Okay.
And Luna does the solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My cards are on the table, so.
Okay.
Let's start with the then.
I have one. The situation, the Knight of Wands. So the situation with the Knight of Wands is that we are active, that we're on fire, and sometimes the situation with the Knight of Wands is that we come into a situation where we didn't ask for permission, and now we have to ask for forgiveness. The situation is we have to ask for forgiveness.
Problem, the 5 of Pentacles.
Oh.
The challenge. The challenge that we face sometimes if we feel that we're out in the cold and everything behind us is warm and glowing. Perhaps that feeling when we were, I know it's not quite a swords card because it's Pentacles card, but that feeling of, how can I,
personal winter, huh?
Sorry, Anne?
Personal winter.
Personal winter.
Yeah. How can I warm myself back up again?
Yeah. That's funny because the first card is fire of fire, and then the problem that rose with we used too much of it, and now we lost the warmth. What
I also noticed on that card is that image. I don't know. It's a castle, a home, something inside in the background. The breeze looks like a fire in between here. I'm not sure if it's
like a henge.
Yes, with that fire being left behind.
Yeah. And she's left out, isn't she? She's left out of the henge, and the people in the henge are celebrating. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I, as a rebel I am myself, even though we all love tarot here, I pulled an oracle deck, actually, an inner child oracle deck. And I know the reason why I was drawn to this particular deck and not tarot, because I am here to talk about solution. And I pulled 3 cards. First solution is to spend time out in nature. I'm not sure if you can see the card, guys, so I'll read it. Let the beauty of nature refresh your soul and run wild. Let your inner wild child run forth. So it is important to take that pause break, which Claire was talking and referring to. Sorry, I kicked the camera. Claire was already talking about it. Pausing, reflecting, and doing something to bring back that joy and spark. And because sometimes all we need to do is to fall deep into the realm of imagination and get lost for a while in order to find the answers and to find the solution, or just simply to notice a different perspective. So out into the wild. Actually, I was looking at my wall yesterday because I have here few pictures, and on one it says, "Into the ocean I go to lose my mind and find my soul," which represents me. And it's exactly what happens when we go out into the nature and be in the wild. Then magic happens. We get restored, we get replenished. Totally recommend as a tool. And if you take your tarot deck with you there and just have a reading, minding the winds, some really good. It can really turn your day from miserable to actually the best.
Yeah. So what you actually saw was that the person in Claire's card had a change of perspective. Instead of feeling left out, she was left in the wild, in the open, and there she went and found, and that's actually what we've been talking about. It's not necessarily that the moments come from the outside, but especially the healing and the ideas and the perspective on things comes from within. Yeah. Richard wants to take his tarot and oracle cards to the beach. Of course, we're having the Irish summer now, so we should all go to the beach. We should all go to the beach. Maybe we can talk a bit or pull some cards on how to release emotions. So a cause of an emotional cause, and how to release it, and how to change perspective. So a follow up on this reading. I can do the same thing again. I'll pick the first one. How to release emotions. I got the 7 of Cups, where we get lost in the options, where we get lost in also in the idea that we should heal our body with with external things to get over it. This card, especially in the Thoth, also talks about alcohol and drug abuse and stuff. So that's the big challenge when you are emotionally involved, to stay sane, to stay clear, and how do we tackle that idea, Claire? What does your card say?
Okay, so I have the Holly King, who is the hermit that most people would be familiar with.
Yeah.
I actually feel that in this card, his home is behind him, and he's come outside because he could hear you, and he's saying, come to my home and warm up, because again, it's another winter card, a winter scene. So yes, come to my home, find warmth and comfort from the outside.
So when you're lost in changes, the hermit asks you to come in for some healing, some introspection. Oh, lovely.
I'm not surprised to see the hermit on a table. I pulled the cards before any question was even asked, and I love them absolutely, because first of all, The Hermit talks about introspection, is that spiritual soul searching. And I have Hole in the Soul card using a different deck. Having it with a prayer as a soulmate. This is a spiritual quest. This is the spiritual challenge. So pay attention to signs, because your inner wisdom is there to guide you. There will be people, there will be events, happenings, or signs helping you to actually follow that lantern, the same lantern the Hermit is holding here.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think maybe if it's your divine feminine or your divine masculine, depending on whom is your guide.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And here we have also that soulmate, people who come to our lives, soul teachers who are meant to guide us and help us, mirror something back to us while we're going through that transformation and change. Because yes, change is often on the outside, but is a result of something which often happens within. That tower moment you mentioned, Claire, with that interpretation of whatever is happening inside of the head, inside of the mind, rather than the outcome and outside circumstances. Absolutely. And David is seeing 444 appearing anyway.
Yeah. We see that too.
Yes. I would suggest towards the end to do a pick a card mini but full reading with every reader. Today, guys, it's not just us, it's the three of us here. So perhaps towards the end, before we say goodbye, we can pull a few cards from some guidance coming from our hearts. As well, I am curious what's Claire's style of reading cards. Those are just the little snippets we get. How about that? 3 different readers, intuitive, having their own method. I think it's going to be interesting to see. For that, we'll see if I'll grab tarot. I don't have any on the table though.
So, but if I say if any of our viewers have any questions, pop them in the comments, and we'll tackle them before the end of the show. Let's find as an ending discussion, reflect a bit on the connection between raising vibrations and tarot as a tool for that, and a tool for navigating obstacles. What's your view on that, Claire?
Again, this is an of recent experience for myself. So I've done a few readings where I've done a tableau, which for anybody not familiar, that's a 9-card spread. There are various ways in which they can be interpreted. But I think that by doing something like a 9-card spread with the central card at the heart and the focus of everything going around, and not to place too much emphasis on this is your past, this is your present, and this is your future, but just by connecting what we see as individual cards. So perhaps this might be happening in the moment, or has this happened? And then just bringing it together as a whole. I think that has become sort of the style and my go-to for anyone that comes for a reading. So it's definitely, thank you. It's definitely, it's something that I only learned last year, but I knew that instantly it just felt right for me to connect to the cards, to connect the message and take it forward.
Yeah. And so the cards in the tableau bring the message, which is, of course, a very different way than the Celtic cross, which is linear, more or less, a linear story with a beginning, a backstory, some developments, and an end result, and some obstacles. And if you look at the tableau, either 9, and there's also the grand tableau of 24 cards or whatever, that's it's a nice way of doing it, and you can make lines, and you can see lines, you can see developments there. Interesting, yeah.
Yes, cards do tell a story that way as well. And it's interesting how things just come clear. And I have a tendency, because I'm very similar to you, Claire, with reading. I barely follow a particular even spread, because I ask my cards questions and they answer. But it's amazing. And I tend to, sometimes I have to catch myself to look at people when I'm talking to them, because I'm so into looking at the cards, because they speak to me, and that's when the story unfolds. And sometimes I catch myself being so drawn to the table and to the cards that I actually forget that there is a human being in front of me wanting to connect as well. And that's always makes me smile a little bit, how the cards can draw you in, and how just things are unfolding and informations are coming and coming and coming, even though it's only a few cards on the table. But that's why I love the intuitive way of reading cards. And it's so great that there are people like you, Claire, as well, who have the similar style. It makes me feel less lonely in the way I do it. There is a comment.
Richard has a specific question for you, Claire. How do you select your deck when you read for a client?
And that is a very good question, Richard. Thank you. So, I don't know if at the beginning, did I mention that sometimes I have different decks on the table, and I like that if there's a person in front of me, I will get them to see what they want to read a reading from. Or if not, I do readings remotely. So sometimes I just get that feeling that, oh, I need to pick up the Green Witch today to do this message, or, oh, actually, Thoth's calling me. Or, oh, is it a deck of tarot, or like Luna, is it an oracle deck that's calling to me? Because sometimes, just sometimes, tarot actually might not have the answer to the question, and the answer could be within an oracle.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. And how do you navigate, for instance, card meanings in the different systems, because they differ?
Absolutely.
Especially Marseille and Sforza decks, their Visconti decks, they are ancient, and the pip decks, the pips have you use a lot for open readings, and they're not as linear or as you know. I don't know if you know Tarosophy by Marcus Katz, where the numbers are important, and Vincent Pricini has his methods. How do you work? How do you navigate that the different ideas, especially in the minor arcana cards?
So, because the pip style Marseille was my very first love, it's just always going to be there in my mind. The lessons that I learned, the structure, what you see. But like you say, it is the most open, because when you get to Rider-Waite, you kind of have a picture, and you can't really re-navigate what the person in front of you is seeing. I mean, I like to bring in, I mentioned this on the conference that I did. So the Eight of Cups in the Rider-Waite has someone that appears to be walking away from the cups that are behind them. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the Marseille, it is 8 cups, but it kind of looks like a sand timer. So I think that, to me, the Marseille will always be what I want to get the real message from. But yes, I do. I must admit, the RWS is probably my least favourite system for being closed. Yeah.
I do. I've always have Rider-Waite Smith, and I always have Marseille with me, but especially Rider-Waite Smith only comes out by special request. Oh yeah, there you have your sand timer. Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so obvious, isn't it? Yeah.
And out of curiosity, Claire, how do you pick a new deck of cards, especially tarot, but maybe oracles? Have you got your own system? Or
Okay. Most of my purchases are pre-loved. I love the olden day style of Fournier, the original ones from the 70s, the bright colours, the funny faces, the fact that the pictures aren't perhaps exactly drawn properly. It's fabulous. So the olden styles, and then occasionally something new will come along and I'll go like, do I really need that deck? For
it's
example,
never a need, Claire. It's a necessity.
yeah. But do I need a different system in my head? Like, for example, the Wildwood Tarot, that follows a very different path.
Yeah.
And then the Druid Craft Tarot, that follows a different path, even though there are some similar images. There's the Wheel of the Year, there's the Druid element to it. There's so much to learn. So yeah, if I see it and I think, oh, do I watch a video and see what that deck's, or do I just go for it? And I think it's that intuition. It says, yep, you need to get that one today.
Yeah, that was certainly me on Sunday morning when I saw a deck which I was surprised I connected with, the Vision Quest deck with Native American symbols. And even though I'm not necessarily into that, it's a very shamanic deck. I absolutely I couldn't walk away without it. And then I was reading actually a few times with that deck and I loved it. So that intuitive connection is super important. And speaking for intuitive connection, how about, guys, we pull some cards and read them?
Shall we do one question from Richard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there is a question. Lovely. Before we proceed.
So, Claire, do you use used card decks? And in that case, you have a ceremony or to renew the energy that might be attached to the deck. So do you release it or cleanse the deck? Yeah.
Okay, so this was one of those decks a couple of years ago, a purchase, and I was like, wow, I was over the moon. So if I
obviously,
oh no, this one is quite available. It's, hold on 2 seconds.
Okay.
Le Tarot de Marseille. So you can still pick this version up, but there is a modern print of the version as well, but it's still readily available, I'm saying. So when this comes to me, it's just literally a case of, if it's not in order, putting it back in order. And I also like to light an incense stick and then just turn and pass the cards through it, and then just give it a good shuffle and don't stop shuffling until I feel that it's ready. I used to do deck interviews. How best will we work together? What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Show me this, show me that. And nowadays it's more of a case, I just want to see what you got. Just flip them cards over and give me a message. Yeah.
A comment from David, you have a really unique way of working with tarot. And you do.
Thank you, David. Yes, it's took me a few years, but yeah, it is. I would say unique, especially when I put all these different systems together, because some people will not pick up a Marseille deck for fear, because what does that mean exactly? Yeah, you can't. But then, yeah, by bringing those systems together, you can play.
Yes,
Yeah.
they come back, don't they?
They do.
Yes, they do talk back. Yeah, they definitely do.
There's a reason why Claire used the word interview, which I absolutely love. From now on, I will also, because interview my cards. So it would be lovely to see you live in action. Let's, guys, focus on 3 cards, because then we could stay here for another hour. It's so great when tarot lovers come together. Oh, wonderful. So I suggest to have a pick a pile with no specific question, just the intention. My cards are ready, and the viewer, you
What do
have
we
the
do?
option to either pick a reader or pick specific messages, specific cards you feel drawn to, or just take it how it goes, because it may be actually one full message as well. I'm curious how it's going to play out.
So we all pick 3 cards,
Yes, please.
and you start, Luna.
Me? Well, we need to show people cards so they could choose from the cards. Yeah. So mine are here.
Hey.
I decided to swap it out.
Yes. So I'm as a last one on the screen, and trust me, my message is pretty tough. So I would prefer to go at the very end because it's just like a tower moment.
Okay, then will you start?
Jan is being a gentleman here, allowing ladies to go first.
Of course, ladies first.
So first of all, I'll just explain to anyone who's never met me before, Thoth is my favourite open intuition. I've never read a book about it. It's just come straight from the heart. It's one of those decks.
and I can comment to that. I was stuck reading tarot. I everybody says, yes, you should learn Rider-Waite-Smith, and it never happened. And then one day, about 10 years ago, boom, I got a Thoth deck in my hand, and it was like flipping a switch. All it was, the light went on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So for anybody who might need to hear this, we have the Queen of Swords. We have the Four of Cups. And we also have another 4, the Four of Wands. So I actually feel that when we're looking at this Queen, she's sat up there, she's in the clouds, and what she holds in her hand, I think I've heard people say that like it's a head of somebody's head. I actually believe it to be a mask of some sort. So it feels like when you need to release that mask, that what's clouding your judgment. She's within the clouds. So if you need to release that mask, that what's clouding your judgment, the Queen will give you permission to do so. She's not afraid. She's like, if you need to release that, you just do it. And by doing that, we have these 2 beautiful 4s that have come along. And with Thoth, we get the titles of luxury and completion. So I think that when the cups represent our emotions, sometimes if we release that mask, we might feel that actually we can let that luxury come into our lives, that what we weren't expecting to happen, and it will lead to everything coming full circle and completing the spirit within us, the ones, the spirit, what drives us. And because it looks like a wheel, take a hold of that wheel and let it happen.
Beautiful reading. Thank you for sharing. Jan, are the doggies still barking? If not, I'll jump on.
They've stopped.
Would you like to proceed then with yours?
Yes, I'll show my cards. I have the Princess of Swords, followed by the Hierophant, and as final card I have the Three of Discs. So we have the Princess of Swords, and as you can see, our young person is the dark clouds are gathering in her life. She's on the defense. She's actually looking for the truth. She's looking for the way out. So the princess, of course, can be a man or a woman. It doesn't necessarily have to be her, but there's a feeling of alone, being alone, not being guided, a feeling of struggle, a feeling of defensive stance for all the things that are seemingly coming from the outside. But when she meets the Hierophant, all at once, everything changes. We see the narrow road ahead. We see all elements are gathering there. We see the grounded energy of Taurus, and of course we're in the middle of the sign of Taurus at the moment. So this is grounded. This is the wise. You could even say the princess meets her teacher, meets her coach, meets her mentor, and when they start working together, they both profit from it. The 1 and 1 is 3. The card's called Works, and the 3 of the Pentacles, or the 3 of Discs, always has an element of putting in the work, putting in the effort. But especially in the Thoth, it's about not having to put in the effort by yourself, but with the Hierophant and the princess herself. Whoops, where's my screen? And the princess herself. They work together for a mutual goal and a mutual result, for something bigger than they bring individually.
And last but not least, if
There's
you
Luna.
this deck, hold on to your dear puns, because this is the gist. This is the tower moment we've been talking about today a lot. Because if you chose my reading, this is my speciality, which is the dark night of the soul. Dear viewer, you're facing some spiritual transformation, spiritual coming and awakening. You are in the midst of a spiritual awakening indeed. So whatever is happening outside or within you, you're facing a dark night of the soul. You're facing something which is supposed to squeeze life out of you in order to bring birth to a new, better chapter and the new, better version of yourself. However, unfortunately, you're doing something to self-sabotage it. You may be creating pain for yourself by standing in your own way. And how? By having automatic negative thoughts, by seeing things in the dark light, by seeing things from the perspective of 5 of Cups or 5 of Pentacles, which is loss, not being able to see any light, just feeling that personal winter. And right now you're learning to take charge of the thoughts you choose to give life to. So this is very important, to focus on something else, basically. If you see the negative, have a look around. There is something positive coming out of this situation for sure. So change your perspective, shift the way you look at things, and I can guarantee you that, like with that wall we spoke a few weeks about, instead of this, all new world and all new perspective will appear. And with that said, we thank you, Claire. It was so wonderful to have you as a guest, with the vision and not just the comment, with your beautiful voice, your beautiful insights.
Thank you very much for having me. And can I just apologise for not being in the chat this evening, but technology and I are not the best of friends, so I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm really sorry if I didn't speak to anybody, but
you spoke to all of us, Claire. You spoke to all of us.
That's the thing, you did it all at once. And Jennifer, Claire, you've been amazing, and so I'm proud. And Maria, to answer your question, perhaps come back next Wednesday and we'll open some space for some question, unless it's a quick one. But we've been over time for sure. We try not to keep you long here. So come back and we'll open the space for you, unless it's a question specifically for Claire. But knowing Claire, she's always there on the other side of the comments as well.
So, with that, dear viewers, it's time to thank you, Claire, for this
Thank
wonderful talk together. Really enjoyed working together. I think this is a start of something we could do more. And hope you join us in the future.
Thank you, definitely. Thank you, everyone.
Bye all.
Bye, guys.